that today when you're going to go out and maybe you're going to cook some ribs for Linda tonight, you're going to notice the cost of that meat has increased a lot. But if you decide to take Linda out for ribs tonight, you're going to pay twice as much. Now, why is that?
Right.
Well, it's called the purchasing power of a dollar. So it's the same dollar bill that you're using, but guess what happens? You're getting less for it.
Right.
And prices are going through the roof. So when you're combating inflation and you're retired, you have to realize that retirement is the longest period of unemployment of your lifetime. So I'd have some statistics here. Good news for you and I, Al. If we're 65 today, we have a 50% chance of making it to 85. Now, if you are a 65-year-old woman out there, you have a 50% chance now to make it to 88.
Wow.
Now, before COVID, these numbers were going up. Because of medical technology, people are living longer. With COVID, it has really changed. And I'm just hoping that this ends soon. I mean, I see some things that are heartbreaking, and, it just seems like you never really know where to reach out to get the true story.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I mean, I thought we were so done with these masks, and I pulled up the paper this morning, and there's some states that are requiring kids.
Yeah.
Because, this new variant, I guess, is really affecting children more than anything else.
It's sad, man.
It's sad. And, it's getting everybody kind of a little bit down. But remember what I said at the very beginning, Retire with Confidence is the name of my new show. I mean, we should start calling it that, because I really want to try to pump you up about, retiring and staying retired and understanding how all these things work. So, one of the questions that I ask people too when it comes to, women and men living longer, and I think I've asked you this question before, Al, too, but I tell people a lot. I sit down with the husband and wife, and I look at the husband in the eye, and I say, let me ask you this question. If something were to happen to you, will your wife be able to figure this thing out? And then I look at the expression that's on the wife's face. And typically that expression is not anytime soon, because they don't know where things are.
Right.
And again, there's a lot of times when, I don't want to assume who's handling the personal affairs, but
Right.
I ask the wife, if you're handling all the stuff, because this does happen every once in a while, especially with business owners. Did you know that? It just seems like busy business owners, the wife is really the one that runs all the checkbooks and the investment accounts and stuff. But I also ask that same question with the wife. I mean, if you were to pass away, is your husband going to be able to pull this thing off? Does he know where everything's at?
Yeah, right.
So one of the things that I provide my clients is a lot of detailed bookkeeping. I give them files. I also give them wonderful semi-annual, sometimes annual reviews. And I put everything in writing in bold print. It doesn't have a lot of legalese in it to where you're sitting there saying, I don't want to open this. It just gives you the facts. It gives you on how much money you have gained. It tells them what, if they were to take their income now, what their income paycheck would be every month.
Okay.
And it also gives them an idea of how the money is invested.
Yeah, right.
And what they do is it really helps them with their bookkeeping, so that if something does happen to somebody, and again, my claim to fame is I try to tell people, I want to be one of the first 5 people that you call if something happens to you, because I know where everything's at and I want to be able to help you.
Nice.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, very nice.
So that's a big question. Everybody out there should If they're sitting out at the pool today or you're just sitting at the kitchen table, ask each other, hey, if something were to happen to you, are you confident in knowing that you can pull this off? Do you know how my pension works, for example?
Yeah,
You
right.
know, so if something were to happen to me, you may not get that full pension. So do you know how to fill the gaps with other monies that you have saved
Right.
so that you can have the same kind of lifestyle? Because that's what we want, right?
Right.
We want to be able to, um, at a minimum, have 80% of what we had when we were working. You know, you might not have 100% of your retirement based upon how much you saved. But a lot of people, I recommend that they really take a look at 80%, having 80% of the income that they had when they were working in retirement, and they'll be able to do great. Now, the key to all that is an emergency fund.
Right.
Everybody has to have an emergency fund because there's two things that age people: regret and financial pressure.
Oh, yeah.
Regret in not doing all the things that you wanted to do because you were just waiting and saving and you were concerned about, oh my word, I have people that have 401ks that they keep in retirement because they want to see it continually grow. And I tell them,
Wow.
that's over. What you need to do is roll that into your
So-
self-directed IRA so that you know where the money's at and you know you can rely on it. And guess what
Yeah.
else? You can use it.
Right.
And here's the
Absolutely.
other thing I want to tell you Al, before we take a break.
Sure.
This COVID has now taken over 2 years of your retirement life. And it may be a little bit longer, but I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to see a lot of people coming out of the woodwork and traveling after this, I hope, because, you know, they've saved for 2 years, number one, but number two, they haven't been able to go anywhere and they've been deathly afraid to go anywhere. So I want people out there to, you know, before this COVID is over, get an appointment with me, call me 833-814-0115 or email me Doug Fair, the number 1 at msn.com. And let's sit down and talk about a strategy for when this COVID is over, how we can get back into the groove of having fun.
That's it. You're listening to Doug Fair from Successful Seniors, Certified Retirement Planner on Talk One Radio. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back, folks.
Are you tired of market losses and fees associated with the stock market? Would you like to be able to watch your money grow without the risk of any losses? Successful Seniors can help you secure your retirement income. There are no monopolies on good ideas, and in today's financial environment, it is important to get a second opinion and find out what prudent and informed investors are doing with their money. Call toll-free 833-814-0115 or email Doug at dougfair1@msn.com for a no-cost appointment.
No time for fitness? Unsure of what to do when you walk into the gym? The eFit Club uses eGym and Matrix technology combined with personal training to easily guide you through your workout. It's the fastest, easiest, and most fun way to improve your health. The eFit Club is suitable for all adults, and our members are reporting amazing results. The eFit Club is located in Bluffton at the Belfair Town Village Shopping Center. Mention Alan or Roman of Talk One Radio, and you'll receive a special discounted membership. It's your time to get fit. Change your fitness, change your life.
Looking for a barbershop with a traditional feel? Well, look no further. Joe's Classic Cuts Barbershop is the Low Country's place to receive a top quality haircut or straight razor shave. You'll enjoy a family environment where everyone is welcomed and the refreshments are on the house. Joe's is located at 23 Johnston Way in Bluffton and open 7 days a week. For old school service and quality, makes Joe's Classic Cuts Barbershop your go-to place for the finest haircut and shave in the Low Country. Call 843-757-5637 or visit www.joesclassiccuts.com today for your next appointment.
Are you an entrepreneur with a business idea but just need a little help getting it off the ground? Well, the Don Ryan Center for Innovation in Bluffton can help entrepreneurs succeed and innovative companies grow. As a nonprofit organization, they provide resources and experience guidance to successfully launch and grow your business. Contact them today to see how they can help at 843-540-0405 or visit their website at donryancenter.com.
This ain't no podcast. We're live, baby. Talk1radio.com.
All right, welcome back on this fine Saturday morning. Al Flowers here with Doug Fair, your successful senior retirement specialist. I got to say, guy knows more than any human should know about retirement, long-term care, everything in your own interest. Folks, if you want to ask a question today, this morning, while you're having your coffee, please call 1-843-800-1492, and we'll get you right up front. Where are we going, Doug? What do you get?
Yeah. So right before the break, we were talking about the income needs at retirement being close to 80% of what I call your usual income when you were working. That'd be a wonderful retirement. But, there's a lot of people, Al, that they run down to the Social Security office at age 62, and they take this thing called Social Security without talking to an expert. In my days in Colorado, I taught a Social Security workshop at the local community colleges, and it was awesome. I remember I would do it like on Wednesday nights and Saturday mornings, and the room would it was standing room only. But, making that decision on Social Security not only impacts the success of your retirement, but it also impacts your spouse for the rest of her life. Because remember, men die 85% of the time, and a lot of people out there, again, remember, have a heart-to-heart with your spouse today and talk to a little bit about, hey, if something were to happen to you, am I going to be ready for this thing, to pull this off on my own? And instead of you having to pull out a financial book or go to a school, you can have an appointment with me, and I'll lay it all out on what it is that you have. I need to know your inventory. A typical appointment with me is awesome in that I gather some inventory, tell you a little bit about my experience, and then basically I want to hear about your goals, and I want to hear about how you envision this thing called retirement. It's amazing how I've told people, maybe you should take retirement for a little test drive. I wrote an article this week for a magazine that talked about that. Envisioning a typical day was part of this article. Envisioning a typical day of what your retirement might be. One of the things that you want to avoid, of course, that is the downfall to a lot of people, is this thing called boredom. I mean, I'm telling you, if you have not got a good comprehensive financial plan and you don't have the money to do what you want to do in retirement, this thing called boredom sets in, and it's a horrible thing, and it will age you very, very quickly. I have worked with over 1,800 people, and I have one of those minds where I can remember the first person that I ever met when I was in this business, and I can remember the last person I met this week. And so I just have that ability to do that. I've been blessed with my mind being able to do that. By the way, she was a person that had just lost her husband, Al, in a tiny little town on the border of Kansas and Colorado, and no one would go to see her in the office because it was too far. And
that's too bad.
I said, I'm not going to let that happen.
Sure.
And so I got in my car and I drove. I want to say it was a total of 120 plus another 140 miles one way. So I drove 280 miles that day. And but anyway, I walked in and I helped her, and I told her I was a little nervous. She was one of my first appointments that didn't come into the office. And we ended up, she just said, well, basically I just wanted to, this life insurance that my husband had, I didn't really want to do anything with it. I just wanted to keep it with the company.
Right.
And so it was good for me and it was good for her. And, I put it into a very secure place that paid her a lifetime income. And she still was able to keep all the principal over the course of years because of her growth that she ended up giving to her kids. But Al, the funny story about that, honest to God, true story, is I was so nervous and she had already received the check and she broke out her checkbook and I wasn't even watching her write the check, but I needed her to write the check out to the company.
Sure.
She wrote the check out to me.
Ah,
And so 2 miles out of her town, and this wasn't a day that I had the best cell phone. I think the cell phone was the size of a brick. I had to turn around and knock back on her door and tell her that I was so sorry. I didn't watch her write the check, but she needed to write it out to the insurance company, which she gladly did.
Yeah.
And became a lifelong client. But the thing is I just, I have this ability to remember people, remember what their goals are and categorize this. I hope I never lose that. But people have to define how they want their retirement to work.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's there's a lot of moving parts. So one of the other things I wanted to mention too is commitment. And it's really, really easy when you think of this thing called retirement to not commit. You get into some bad habits of spending and again, if you're a little bit bored and you're at home, and especially during this thing called COVID, the reason the market, in my opinion, staying up is, we're all on our cell phones, we're on our computer, we're buying things in Amazon, we're
Sure.
Googling things, we're finding out that we have this time. And so COVID has done that, and it really keeps you from committing to a plan. And that's very, very important. I help my clients commit to a plan in that I want to meet with them on a regular basis. Sometimes it's just a phone call, but I do want to see them at least once per year in person, if I can.
Well, you're available day or night, right?
Yeah. And so when I run my own show like I do, I run my own schedule too. And
Sure.
So I like to be able to review that with people. And then, of course, I've already mentioned this in the show, but one of the biggest compliments that I get is, if something does happen to somebody in the family, I'm one of the first 5 people they call. They call family and they call the funeral home and they call the priest. And then, of course, hopefully they call me. And that's a compliment to me because, they've entrusted me with this thing called their retirement.
Yeah.
And that's what gave me the motivation to keep doing what I do. It's not easy. The part about seeing and meeting people and being here with you, that's all fun.
Right.
The hardest part about this whole job is, of course, the marketing side and still meeting new people because, with the amount of clients that I do have clients. The week after I had my last show, I had 2 clients in Colorado pass away.
Wow.
And people that have been with me for 20 years. And of course that hurts. I mean,
Sure.
it's tough, but then coordinating everything to get, their kids and also their spouses taken care of. That's not easy, but when you're in a business like this, you want to replace those clients too with
Right.
2 new clients. And that's the tough part is
That's part of your service.
yeah, absolutely. And so a good comprehensive plan is very, very key. So in review, remember that there's 5 aspects of retirement that are very, very key. And the first one is income. You really, really want to make sure that you have a way to have guaranteed income, which is the foundation of your retirement. Everything else, your emergency fund, or like Al, we talked about 2 or 3 shows ago, this thing called Bitcoin. If somebody wants to try to go out and figure that out, that's beyond any of the realm that I do. I don't take
No, we don't.
that kind of risk with people. But
Right.
if you have the foundation of your retirement, if you can just envision a pyramid, and the foundation is me. The foundation is making sure that every aspect of your financial plan is sewn up and taken care of.
That's it.
And then what you can do is you have the freedom to begin a vacation fund. You have the ability to have a great emergency fund, because you never know what's going to happen. I mean, I didn't know this about living in South Carolina, but we have about 100 trees in our yard. I'm not kidding you. And so, you know where all those leaves come down is on the roof.
Yeah.
And then what happens is, because of, I guess, the humidity, all of that stuff sticks on your roof and it starts aging your roof.
Sure.
So I didn't know this, because my neighbor had to tell me this.
Yeah.
But him and I hired a great guy this week who got on a ladder and went in and blew off our roof. Now, you don't have to do that in Colorado because we have weather,
Yeah.
and we have,
The colder temperatures, and
it freezes up on the roof and then the wind blows it off. But
Right.
here, that
Not
just
so
sticks,
much,
and
yeah.
it sticks like glue.
Yeah.
So anyway, but it's an unexpected cost. I mean,
right.
I didn't realize. Did you think I was going to get on the roof, Al? You looked at me like, why didn't you do it?
No. I would.
Yeah.
I just want to make mention that we are streaming live. I do have Doug's website up. It still shows the Successful Seniors of Colorado. I want to be clear. Doug is here in the Low Country with us. He is now a resident here. I'm sure he does have a office still operating out there, but the man with the plan is living amongst us. So he will be updating that, but I just want to let you know, because it's a real dandy website, Successful Seniors of Colorado, but it's now Successful Seniors of the Low Country.
Yeah. And now the reason why I've kind of kept that the way it is I've only been here for 6 months, but my marketing company is back in Colorado.
Sure, right.
And so are hundreds and hundreds of clients. And so I didn't want to, one of the things that I wanted to do is I want to make sure that I personally, meet with every one of my Colorado clients. And a lot of them know, where I live now. But the thing is I'm still doing this huge transition. But, I am here in the Low Country. This is where I live now. This is where all my girls are.
We're happy to be part of it too, Talk One Radio. So we appreciate that you selected us as one of your positions for the town crier.
Yeah, this has been great, and it's a whole different demographic here. But I'm telling you, I don't know about you, and I told you this before, but I can't believe how the days fly by here. I mean, I get up super early and I work, and then I usually hit the gym or get on my bike and do some form of exercise, and I come back to the office and then plan a dinner, and then of course we have events with the girls,
Right.
and the next thing I know, Al, I look at the clock, it's 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
And I told you what time I go to bed.
Yeah.
9:05. But anyway, the second aspect, just in review of today's show,
Yep.
is the investment aspect. And that's where my expertise truly is, in picking the products based upon your goals that are going to be best for you, with no surprises. Everything is transparent. We put everything in writing, and you typically receive you always receive a policy that you can refer to. Of course, with the age of the internet, you can look at your account balance every day, how the income account balance will grow with no fee at 4%. That's the way it is right now today. It's wonderful. Every single product that I have offered my clients, I own myself, because I truly believe that I don't want there to be any surprises. And the
Sure.
other thing is if I get a letter from the insurance company that says something has changed in my policy, guess what I do? I get to go out and tell all the clients they're going to get this letter.
Yeah, right.
So you have to do that as a financial advisor. There's a lot of great financial advisors out there, but I don't see a lot of them taking pride in owning everything that they're recommending. And
Yeah.
that is a true fiduciary, in my opinion.
Right.
Fiduciary in the fact that I own the product, so I know how it works,
Right.
and I don't want there to be surprises. Putting on my legal cap, I'm still working with a few attorneys here. I have great attorneys in Colorado that have helped with, legacy planning, and again, a will and a trust are very, very key.
Mm-hmm.
And the privacy that a trust offers you is fantastic. Everyone should at least give me a call and talk to me about how we can get them in to talk to an attorney about a trust.
Yeah.
And then, of course, this thing called tax. Do you think taxes are going to go up?
They already have.
Yeah. Taxes are going to go up, people, with
lot.
the amount of spending that our country is doing. And, they're using the word, I don't know, what comes after the word trillion?
I got no
I mean, I think one of my daughters told me it's
quadrillion.
quadrillion.
Yeah.
Now, if you think of a million, which is 1,000,000,
Yeah.
right? And you think of a billion, which is 1,000 million, and you think of a trillion, which is 1,000 billion. Can you imagine 1,000 trillion?
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. And right
Well,
now
we're on the road.
Yeah, right now we're looking at, we're not close to 1,000 yet, but the governmental debt, which, we don't ever really know the true story about that, but there is a clock you can go to on the internet, and it's called the debt clock. And I think the last time I looked, it was somewhere close to 30 trillion,
Yeah.
28 to 30 trillion. But, the last aspect to, before I go into some scenarios here, if you don't mind,
And I don't mind at all, sir.
of people that have asked me some questions, is this healthcare puzzle. I just turned 60 this last December, so I'm already looking at at 5 more years getting Medicare and being in the right Medicare supplement plan, because that's a huge key too.
Yeah, that's me. I just turned 65. So I'm a Medicare kid, and I just kept my Fed Blue, my Blue Cross Blue Shield from the federal government that is maintaining. Now, I haven't seen what the charges are going to be off of that as I step down and they become a supplement as opposed to main. But we'll see how that goes. People that were in my agency that I know that have crossed the same bridge have said, just leave it the way it is. Because you'll never get another healthcare bill. So,
Yeah.
So far, so good, by the way.
Yeah. And that supplement, Al, is going to cover 20% of what Medicare doesn't cover, because Medicare is 80%. But, I'd be curious, someday when you do get that bill, I'd just like to kind of go over it with you too, if you want me to, and just to see, because you could educate me.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people that are going to make that choice. And if they do make that choice, I would just love to see what the, what the cost of that is versus, a Medicare supplement, for example, Plan G, which has $184 deductible per year. They did away with Plan F because it was too good, just like they did away with a couple of the Social Security options. I'm sorry.
Right.
I said problems because it was a problem. That's Freudian.
Right.
But, they did away with file and suspend and a few things. And, the CARES Act that came out after COVID, that's another whole conversation that I can tell people how different things have changed. Like some of them for the good. I mean, they now only require your required minimum distribution. They're going to let you wait till 72 now. I have a wonderful strategy for that. I try to make as much money on a guaranteed basis for my clients that can't go down. Of course, when I say guarantee, there is a fixed guaranteed account. But what I mean by that is that when the market goes down, you don't lose any.
Right.
But you want to be able to afford yourself enough interest to take care of your required minimum distribution. And that's another whole show.
That's a whole.
I mean, how many shows are we going to do before we get to the bottom of all this?
I don't know.
You know what I mean, Al?
There's a lot of stuff. You're getting a lot of papers over there.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. And so, hey, I know we just got about 8 more minutes or so, but did you
good.
have any comments on anything that I've said so far?
No, I think it's great. Folks, if you want to get a hold of Doug personally, it's 833-814-0115 or Doug Fair, that's common spelling, the number 1 at msn.com. And go to the website. It's rolling right now on YouTube, Talk One Radio's Facebook page, and LinkedIn at successfulsenioursusa.com. It's a real privilege to have Doug here. And if you have any questions, you can call right now, 843-800-1492, of course, and we'll answer your phone call on a second ring, and we'll get you right in. You can ask your question to Doug right now. Things that puzzle me, Doug, are things like, and I keep mentioning myself, and that's because that's the only person I have details on. But when I went to file for my Social Security at 62, they immediately cut it in half because of some rule that my pension, exceeded X amount. And I mean, it was pittance anyway. It basically pays for golf when I want to go play golf. But, I just thought that was grossly unfair. I mean,
yeah, they consider that double dipping when you have the career that you had as air traffic controller, right?
Right, but I mean, I still paid into it.
Yeah.
Outside of that time, I mean, I worked as you did, I'm sure. As a young man, I was working when I was 14, 15 years old as landscape laborers, and on the books, and in restaurants as busboys and dishwashers, and then when I got out, I became when I retired from the federal agency, I became a contractor for a couple of years, and I was making quite a high salary and paying quite high into my Social Security, my FICA, and all that. And the successful seem to get punished in this country for some reason.
Yeah. Well, they do consider, when you have that federal pension, they do consider it double dipping, and so they do penalize you on your Social Security. But also part of that haircut that you got on your Social Security was
50%, by the way.
Yeah, was 30% was due to the fact that you got it at age 62. That's why a lot of times I tell people that take it at 62 if you have two things. If you have some health issues and you're worried about your longevity, which I know you're not, but the thing is or if you're having problems finding a job, which again, you're not in that scenario either. But the thing is because of the fact that you knew going in that you were going to get a haircut because you have a federal pension,
right?
It made sense to take it at 62, so at least you can have the, pay for a couple
rounds of golf,
rounds of golf, and the cart and a nice
dog.
hamburger after. So but that's one thing where a year before you retire, you need to sit down with me. And again, sometimes I give advice for the whole week.
Sure.
And it's complimentary, and you walk away with feeling a little bit better about being educated, and that's what it's all about.
But, well, you're helping people. I mean, this is this is something that people don't know which way to turn. Right. And now, right here in the Low Country, you have a gentleman that's going to take care of you and look after your funds. He doesn't get paid. There's no fee involved. He gets paid by
I get paid by the insurance company
Yeah. So I mean, he's not asking you for a annual fee or a percentage. I mean, I've gotten nicked like that. I had quite a bit of money when I came out of the agency, and I put it with a investment advisor, I guess you could call him, and he took a hefty fee. Hefty fee on a quarterly basis. For me.
Some of those quarterly fees can get up to 1.5%, which to the math.
Ouch.
Ouch. And sometimes they're also hidden.
Yeah.
So you really can't find them in there. And then sometimes when you buy certain instruments, they take it right off the top.
Yeah.
Sometimes 4.5% comes right off the top.
That's serious money.
I'm the safe money guy. I don't have the licenses anymore. Of course, I had all those licenses, but I don't. But But anyway, in closing, I just want to tell you that it must be football season, because I know you don't watch a lot of football, Al, but I'm a huge college football fan. And today college football starts, and it starts at 1:00.
Wow.
And all my family that's in Omaha, they all went to the University of Nebraska. And so the first game is Nebraska and Illinois. So, but anyway, the reason I bring up football is because I usually have a lot of questions, but this week I only had 3.
Wow.
That came to me, either through my website, www.successfulseniors.com, and Successful Seniors USA. I have it on the internet to where if you just Google the 2 words Successful Seniors, I pop up. So you don't have to worry about the USA part, but I put USA in there because I just love our country, and I love I just hope that we can all continue to heal, and all these things that are happening out there. We hope we can get better, but that's another whole show.
Oh yeah.
Which, by the way, we do have a show on September 11th. And so I have some stories that I want to share with you about clients and friends and some of the things that happened on that day. And of course, I want to know what you were doing too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something we could look forward to. And then, but anyway, ironically, the 3 questions, the first one we've already addressed is, how can you help me with my 401k?
There you go.
And I can tell you that is a whole hour conversation that we can have on how that all works. And remember, the Hotel California, you can get in, but it's tough to get out
Right.
because you don't know how.
Right.
And guess what you have to end up doing? Calling an 800 number.
Yeah.
And you end up talking to somebody, and God love them, they're working, which we love, right? But do you think you would rather talk to me, or do you want to talk to somebody that just got potentially a job a year and a half ago,
Or
that's
6
answering
months,
the phone?
Yeah, or 6
Okay.
months ago. Yeah.
The other question was, I have $100,000 making nothing in the bank for the last 10 years.
Wow.
It's made nothing.
Oh my gosh.
What can you do to help me? Well, of course,
Wow.
I'm a huge believer in an emergency fund.
Well,
And so,
making nothing.
yeah, I mean, when you think about this, if you're making 0.013%, you still get that little thing in the mail at the end of the year, that little thing called 1099.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's going to be put on your income tax.
Sure. Right.
So all of those 1099s go onto your income tax, and guess what you do? You have to pay interest on that $6.50 you made. So
Right.
now, not only can you not afford a beer at the Coors Field, right, or the Atlanta
Right,
Braves Field,
Even if you get in.
yeah, now you can't even buy a bag of peanuts. So, and then the first one was, when should I make this decision on Social Security? And the decision on Social Security, Al, is very key, because it's one of, and you can't rely on Social Security alone,
Right.
but it's one of these big decisions that you have to make, and the timing of that, and how it impacts your spouse, and whether or not it's taxable. All of those things. I didn't learn this in a book.
Right.
I didn't learn this on the Social Security website. I learned it from meeting with hundreds of people and figuring out what was best for them.
Right. On.
And so that's one of the things that I give my clients is this education that I have, and this wonderful career that I've been able to have because of wonderful people. It has nothing to do with me. It just has to do with working with wonderful people, and that trusted me. Some of them, just like the story I shared with you earlier, she trusted me, Al. And she's long gone now, and I'm not going to mention her name, but it was $85,000
Yeah.
that she wrote a check out, and she hadn't met me for more than 30 minutes. So it was one of those things where it's just because of the wonderful people. But I learned all this through experience.
Right.
And when you learn something from experience versus a book, you typically have a situation where you kind of know a little bit more than just what the book tells you.
That's it.
Because the book's limited.
Right.
But you run into different snags all the time when it comes to just doing it through experience.
Sure.
So anyway, hey, thanks for having me.
Well,
It's
you're
been a
very
great
welcome.
hour.
Yes, indeed.
And I will see you in 2 weeks.
That'll be the 11th of September. You know what that is.
Yeah, September 11th.
Folks, I just wanted to, in closing, thank Doug for, taking stock in us, trusting us to do the right thing for him. I mean, it means a lot to me. It means a lot to this business that he had enough faith in us that we were going to do the right thing. All I ask of you is please call him 833-814-0115 or email at dougfair, the number 1, at msn.com. His website, once again, successfulseniorsusa.com. We'll see you again on September 11th. It's been a real pleasure, Doug. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks, Al.
Thank you for listening to the Successful Seniors Show. Please join us 2 weeks from today, Saturday at 9 a.m. right here on Talk One Radio. For more information, go to successfulseniorsusa.com or contact Doug Fair at dougfair1@msn.com. Till next time, remember, it's all in the planning.